and gentlemen, Eddie Marcus back here again. Got some good information. I'm still working diligently to loosen your thinking from the program to prime you a bit about change. This world, and I'm talking in terms of what Christians talk about when they say this world, they're talking about those who are not inclined to put faith in God. They more or less inclined to believe in themselves, and they function in a world that's designed by those who believe in themselves and human beings, and so they call that the world, absent God, man doing his best. And on the other side, they call it being born again. Being born again basically means that you were just like everybody else on the worldly side, brought up the same way, but something happened in your life that changed you. Could have been you heard somebody say something, could have been you read something, could have been you experienced something. But whatever that something was, it was to the extent that he eliminated any doubt that you might have ever had about the reality of an invisible world and an invisible power. All of that was gone. And you, for some strange reason, now see this invisible, this power that seems to be hidden from everybody, to be more magnificent than any power that human beings could ever cause. And so you make a decision that you're going to go with the spirit side. Now, when you say you're going to go with the spirit side, that means you're separating yourself from the basic principles and practices of life, from the what you have been calling the norm. You separating yourself from that. You've seen the destruction of that world, of that system. And now, since you've been born again, you see how a system is supposed to operate. You see how it is able to maintain prosperity for everybody, to be peaceful and to live a joyous and happy life. You can see it plain as daylight because the Spirit reveals it to you. And so rather than trying to hang on to the norm, you gladly turn the norm loose. Now you see yourself in a situation like Adam must have been in the garden. We see this as the garden, and this garden is really messed up. I mean, you got Johnson grass, you got weeds, you got everything growing everywhere. And it needs a cleansing. It needs a cleansing. But it needs a cleansing from a cleaner. No pretender can do anything with this. The pretender gets caught all up in the weeds and the grass and other stuff, trying to pretend like they know something when they don't. And so what actually happens is this. On the spiritual side, you still need everything that the fleshy side needs for survival. You still need it. The difference is your way now is the golden rule way, doing unto others as you would have others do unto you. Their way is money. And so what you have to do now is find some way that the Spirit will lead you to guide you in such a way that these norms drop down their guard and do it the way of the Spirit. Now that sounds absolutely ridiculous. That sounds like there's no way in hell that anything like that is going to happen. But that's the way. That's the way. Peace, my friends, there's no peace between the world and God's way. There's no peace. That's a con game. Heaven has nothing to do with that. It was kicked out of heaven when the angels tried it. It was kicked out of the Garden of Eden when Adam and those people tried it. And it's kicked out of earth. Soon as the people wake up, that junk has got to go. No, my friends. What I'm basically trying to say to you is what I've been saying all along is this. I got a lot of people who are connected with the church. I'm sure we all do. I got ministers who are brothers, sisters, and cousins. My folks are really into the church. But they are into the church that the world built. Now, what do I mean? That doesn't mean that they don't have experiences, religious experiences, that they don't have some going deep into God and God speaking to them. It doesn't mean that, but I'm saying the basic ideology of the church, the principle of the church, is all set up by men. Even the compilation of the Bibles, and I said Bibles, all set up by men. Men who had all kinds of motivation. And we the people, as ignorant as we have always been, have always accepted ignorant stuff and walked on it as though it was gospel from God Almighty. And it's nothing but ignorant stuff. And all of the ignorant stuff exposes itself, reveals itself to whomever is listening. You see it in the crime, you see it in the violence, you see it in the terrorism, you see it in the poverty, you see it in all of his terrorism, hatred, and bigotry. You see it right there in the midst of it, in the midst of it. And you call yourselves led by God. Now, my friends, you might have been led by God up until now. But as of right now, you are not being led by God. You are being led by the spirit of the world. The spirit of the world. I'm not going to bite my tongue. I'm going to tell you about it. If you were being led by the Spirit of God, you'd be making sure that every essential necessary for the survival of humankind, that the earth has already got maintained for you to access and provide for each and every last one of you, and it's not happening. And you Christian people, you godly folks are not dying. No. You ain't saved. You blind as a bat. Now, what did I just say? I just said to you that there's a way that God is expressed in human form. And those who are familiar with that way are making sure that that way is present, or they are dying because they are not putting up with it no other kind of way. Now, and what am I saying? Yes, I'm just saying something like this. When you're born again, you're saying the world is going to change or they're going to kill you. Now, I said they're going to kill you. I didn't say you're going to kill them. That's what they do. They kill to have their way. We die to have ours. Why? Because we got a power. We got a God that looks after us. And we don't have to kill. They don't know any better. They don't know any better. So they kill thinking that they on top. And baby, if they only knew, we ain't worried about none of that stuff they worried about, because we don't even care about that. If we can't have heaven on earth, then we'll have heaven wherever it is, because we ain't staying here. Now, I know that's one heck of a challenge to you people who out there hear me. You ain't thinking about that. And that ain't got nothing to do with it. All I had to do was to share with you. Because, let me tell you this. As simple as heaven is to operate, as simple as it is to operate, it will not operate until you choose, till you make up your mind that if it doesn't, you are willing to die because you're not going to accept it any other way. Until you can say that, there will always be somebody sitting right there, standing right there, telling you you are not going to experience any heaven here today because they're ready to slap the bottom out of you. And if you're not willing to take that slapping, you always give in. And heaven can't come where you're giving in. You got to say, "No, baby, not today," and mean it. And then heaven will be right there. Heaven will be right there. You'll have access to the whole world. Every last one of you will have access to one another. All that exists is there for you, wherever you might be, whatever your dream and aspiration, whatever exists is there for you. Not a single one of you are left out. And that's what I talk to you about. And I talk about going to Washington and speaking to the nation and becoming president and speaking to the world. And you laugh at me and you give us what you've given us. I'm talking now to the church members, all of you church members. Let me tell you something. The brothers who have been preaching to you gave you their best. So I'm not coming to knock them. They gave you their best. But now you require more. And I have been qualified to come and give you more. And the more is that God requires more of you than what you are given. Hello? I'm doing good. Oh, oh, I was working on something. Let me cut it off. Yeah, okay.